Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Rob here from Happy Cat Films. Today I want to show you a very quick and easy way to add a bit of customization to your titles using textures. All too often as editors, particularly in a pinch, we just grab a cool looking typeface and run with it. This is well and good, we've all done it, I do it myself. But with highly stylized typefaces, repeated letters like these two E's and these two T's give it away and can come across as amateurish. For example, let's switch over to font book. Typefaces like really stylized ones like Blaze or Bugaboo, Cracked, which we're going to use in this example, or Erosion in particular. They look great, but too many repeated letters really give the effect away. So we're going to look at doing this in After Effects and keep things very simple with just static text and static textures. In this case, we'll look at maybe animating some things in another tutorial. But for this one, we're going to keep it simple, just going static. So I am using a freely downloadable texture from cgtextures.com. And if you don't know about this site as an editor, as a graphic designer, you need to. This site has some amazing, very, very large, detailed textures that you can use to really bring a high level of customization to your work. So for this tutorial, we're going to use one out of the rock category. We're going to scroll down to sediment, and we're going to use this very first one and the last one over here to the right, rock sediment 0038_7. So I've already got that downloaded, and let's jump over to After Effects. So over here in After Effects, I've got a project set up. I've got a couple of things already brought in. One is a books image that I will use as a backdrop a little bit later on. The key one is my rock sediment 0038_7 that we downloaded from CG Textures. Got all kinds of great contrast in here, some very, very organic looking, grungy looking things that really add a nice randomness to what we're going to be doing here. So first thing I need in my composition here is some text. Let's put some text in. It's going to be Sleepy Kitty. I only picked the word Sleepy Kitty because of the double E's and the double T's that'll really help show off what we're trying to do here. So we'll position that somewhere around in the middle of the composition. Again, we're just working with static images for now, so that'll be fine. First thing I'm going to do is duplicate that layer. And I'm going to work on the bottom one here and scale it a little bit. I want to scale it up just a little bit, about 105%. That works well. I also need to position it a little differently. I need to move it around. I want it sort of right on top of my existing text, and so that it sort of is expanding it just a little bit. That looks pretty good. So there's my original. There's with my expanded. So now let's go ahead and hide that top layer. We're just going to work with that expanded layer first. I'm going to bring my rock sediment layer and put it directly between the two. Of course, it fills the frame as it should. Now, I'm really not interested in these colors and these midtones as much. I've got some blue and some brown in there. I really just want to use the contrast of this image. So I need to apply a contrast filter. So over here in filters, contrast, I'm going to put a brightness and contrast. Double click that to apply it. And I'm just going to blow my contrast up to 100%. I want just these little tiny bits and pieces all over the place. So that looks pretty good. Down here on my Sleepy Kitty layer, this is where it starts to get interesting. I'm going to apply a track matte, which will use the layer above it to show only part of the layer below. In this case, I want to change this from no track matte to Luma inverted matte using rock sediment 0038. You'll see why in a second. So here I've got just tiny little bits and pieces. I really need something more than that. So on my rock sediment layer now, I'm going to use the scale function and kind of scale that down. You can see how much of that you're going to get. So it starts to see some of the letters here, which is nice. Now again, this is my lower layer. This is my background, if you will. So we'll just scale that down and leave it right that for now. So when I turn back on my top layer, what I end up with is these sort of little organic bits that are flying off of the upper layer of text. That actually looks kind of better right there by itself, but we're going to take it a step further. So to that top layer, we're going to apply the same rock sediment layer, put it right on top of the project. Same thing here, apply that brightness and contrast to it. We're going to blow that contrast up to 100%. Now down here on the track mat for the Sleepy Kitty 2 layer, we're going to select Luma Matte, not inverted, just the straight Luma Matte on rock sediment. Now see how it breaks up a little bit? Got a little bit more grittiness in there. Same thing on this top rock sediment layer, which is being applied to that upper Sleepy Kitty 2 layer. If I play with the scaling, look at that. See how I can move all those things around? And I can also play with the position. I'll just do it up here on the screen and really put those gritty, broken up things. Yeah, there we go. Got some nice brick textures in there. But put those really anywhere I like to get the feel that I'm looking for. So now I've got these bits and pieces flying off and things broken up very randomly in between. Got some broken up stuff in the T's. Got a lot of broken up stuff in the E's so that it doesn't look as exactly duplicate layers or duplicate letters as it used to. And you can play with this to your heart's content. Scale it up, scale it down, move it around. Anything you need to do to get the broken up look that you want to make it look different enough. So now to lay this over top of something, what I find the easiest way, and hey, everybody does something a little different. If I select all my layers here, and I want to come up to layer and pre-compose these, just leave it pre-comp 1, that's fine, call it whatever you want. So now this whole thing is one composition layer, and I can, in this new composition texture title with the pre-comp, which is my text with all the grittiness attached to it, let's bring that books layer below it, and look at that. It shows up quite nicely with my grittiness, but you know, it's looking a little transparent. I really ought to add something like a classic drop shadow. So drop in my effects. Let's apply a drop shadow. Looking better already. Bring my shadow opacity up 100% because I want it to look nice and black and really stand out. So there I have a much more interesting looking title just by applying a couple of quick static texture effects. It really breaks it up, makes it look more customized. Even though I'm using a generic typeface and a freely available texture to achieve it. So that's all we're doing today. Again, very, very simple. Just a couple of layers, a little bit of creativity, and everything that comes built in with After Effects. And you are rocking and rolling with some more dynamic looking, more customized looking titles. So I hope I've entertained you for a few minutes. I'm kind of new to this tutorial thing, so I do appreciate your patience, and bear with me, I will get better. And I hope I've inspired you to try something interesting with your titles and break them up just a little bit. Just a few minutes of your time spent with your titles can really make them look a lot more customized than just typing something with an existing typeface and rocking and rolling with it. So again, this is Rob from Happy Cat Films, and take care.